Hi, everybody. So, for my cinema project, I decided to study feminist and gender theory and how it relates to An American in Paris. And to do so, I decided to study it in the context of another work, The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan, which is a book published in 1963, but it's about the 50s and 60s, and specifically the time in which An American in Paris was released to the public. And pretty much this book is about how when World War II ended and the soldiers came back home, all the wartime jobs that women had were now taken back by the soldiers that came back. So essentially, this left women they had the rug pulled out from under them. They were had opportunity and autonomy, and then all of a sudden they had no jobs. And over time, this feeling of discontentment and lack of self-fulfillment and lack of identity emerged among women. And that's what Betty Friedan chronicles in her book, with a combination of research and personal accounts from many different women. So I wanted to use Friedan's book to specifically discuss one character, and that's Milo. I find her to be the most intriguing character in the movie. So in one section in Friedan's book, she discusses narrative conventions that were influenced by this time and that were kind of released in the media during this time. And she says, the sex seekers were mainly the women, who were shown as mindless, over-underdressed sex creatures, the Hollywood star, and hysterical parasites, the journalist's girlfriend. In addition, there was the promiscuous rich girl who needed the perverse stimulations of the borrowed prostitute's bed. So Milo clearly is one of the sex seekers, as we would say. And we know this because in the beginning, very early on in the book, she states pretty much her intentions and motivations, because she says, my name is Milo, like Venus de Milo. And Venus de Milo is actually a statue of the goddess Aphrodite, which foreshadows that Milo is going to be a very domineering, strong woman who is once again looking for love and fulfillment in the form of a man. And she's also looking for identity, most importantly. So it's made very clear throughout the film that Milo's on the search for self-actualization and kind of realizing her womanhood. Because when Jerry is talking to Adam about Milo, Adam says, women act like men and want to be treated like women, implying that Milo has male characteristics, and some of those male characteristics are, confidence, aggression, ambition, wealth also. It's I guess it's a characteristic in a sense, but you can see this because Jerry consistently throughout the movie is kind of questioning how much money she has. It also gives Milo power over Jerry, because ordinarily in a patriarchal power structure, the man has more power. But now Jerry's kind of emasculated by Milo. He's always asking if he's like, only if I can pay you back. It's very clear that he's insecure about this relationship and how Milo is kind of supporting him throughout all this. We also know that Milo has sought out love and fulfillment from men before, because in the cafe scene where Jerry and Milo meet with all Milo's business partners, Milo's business partner mentions, he's like, is this going to be like the others? They always run away, or sometimes they don't pan out. And he's mentioning a series of other artists who Milo clearly has also tried to build up and find fulfillment from them as well. Or when she's persuading Jerry to open his gallery and he finally agrees, she said, I would have died if you said no, which, can be seen as hyperbole, but I kind of understood it to mean that the Milo, the self, would have died. That identity would have died. For example, here's another quote from Friedan. She says, sex without self, enshrined by the feminine mystique, casts an ever-darkening shadow over man's image of woman and woman's image of herself. And also towards the end of the movie, finally, we see a glimpse of Milo finally realizing herself. So when Jerry finally shows desire for Milo, even though it's clearly kind of manufactured because he mirrors exactly the dialogue that he uses for Lise, or for Lisa, she says, "I feel like a woman for a change," which is really, I mean, it was really kind of upsetting to me and even sad, because we see that kind of Milo has based all her, ambitions and desire for identity on desire from a man, even though the fact that she's like a wealthy heiress and an aristocrat, it's clear that her life is pretty empty because she's always looking for someone to fill it. So overall, Milo is a really complicated character, and I really enjoyed seeing her in the film, and how Nina Folk, I think it's pronounced, portrayed her. And I really would have liked to talk more about Jerry's infatuation with her and what he specifically got from her. But, of course, I don't have time. So thanks, guys, for watching, and happy holidays. Thanks.